Again, Laura Crandall here from Student Affairs. We have Kim Max from Centennial Hall. We've got, hi Kim, we have James Zappola from the Trailhead Cafe. And we have Ruth Sullivan. Thank you everyone for waving. It's so nice to have your face with your name because I know who you are, but they don't know who you are. Ruth Sullivan is the nutritionist at Syracuse University. And then last we have Dean Lombard, who is the Dean for Student Affairs. So if you have questions along the way, please do put it right in the comments in the Facebook page right here, and we'll all be doing our best to read it and keep up with it. So as we start and get going, we'll introduce all of our panelists and then we will open it up for questions, but do put your questions in. And again, we'll all do our best to keep up with the questions. So Kim, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Centennial Hall?
Yep, so I am Kim Max. I am the community manager for Centennial Hall. I have been with Centen since 2010, so that's actually a year before we opened. And so I got to see the building from hole in the ground through what it is today. So my role at Centennial is I kind of oversee everything, whether it is facilities to student experience to supervising staff, kind of anything that happens in Centennial Hall, I oversee it.
Thank you so much. Do you have anything you want to mention right now before we introduce our next panelist about what move-in's looking like?
I mean, move-in is still, we're still making some decisions, but there, you know, we've got some stuff coming out, you know, as people may have seen in the email that came out on July 10th, we are going to be doing move-ins from August 14th through August 22nd. And you will pick your own move-in time. And that link is in that email that came out on July 10th. If you are missing that email, you can't find it, you somehow didn't get it, please send an email to centennialhall@graystar.com, which is Centennial Hall, CENTENNIALHALL @graystar, GREYSTAR.com, and we will get that back to you. It is really important that you sign up for a move-in time. If you don't sign up for a move-in time and you just show up, we're not going to let you move in. It's very important because of social distancing, as well as some other things that we've got going on. We're still finalizing our testing protocols. But for all of those reasons, we really need people to stick to their move-in times. The other thing is your move-in time is about 4 hours. So 9 to 1, 1 to 5, you must leave, like your the guests that are allowed with you need to leave at the end of that time frame so we can let the next group start moving in, particularly that morning to afternoon transition. You know, again, we're really trying to be respectful of social distancing, and we want to make sure that everybody has the space to move in that they need. We are also only allowing 2 guests per student. You know, so no more than 2, and we need to be very strict about that. Because otherwise, you know, again, there may be too many people in the building for people's comfort. So we want to be respectful of everybody around us, and really make sure 2 people, we stick to our time slots and really make sure that we're being respectful of everybody around us.
Great, thank you so much. I do see some questions already coming in. We'll get to that after we introduce our other 2 panelists who are here to talk about food. So next I'm going to introduce James, who is the Trailhead manager of the Gateway Centers Cafe that we have here. So James, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at the Trailhead Cafe?
Sure, Laura, thanks for having me, and hello everybody. The Trailhead Cafe is SUNY ESF's only dining facility on its campus. We've been on campus since 2013. We're an a la carte operation, which means you pay for each item that you wish to eat. whether it's a cup of coffee, a sandwich, or a bag of chips. It's not your traditional dining facility like they have at Syracuse University or other colleges across the area. It's all come in, you pay for what you get, pay for what you want, and you can eat it either in the Gateway Center or you can take it with you to wherever you want to go. We're really fortunate in the last few months that some things have gone positive for us. We are able to have inside seating. There was a while back, there was some pretty serious conversation that everything was going to have to be to go. However, that's changed, and we're going to have inside seating as well as to go options. That's a big win for everybody, especially being a small campus. There was concern about where's everyone going to eat. So that's kind of a small but yet rather large victory for us with all of the COVID response that's happening across campus and across the country. The location is open Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 4:30. We're not open on Saturdays, and we are open on Sundays from 11:30 to 3. And right now, it doesn't look like much else is going to change in that respect. We will be rolling out in the future, not at the start of classes, but in the future, we will be rolling out the options for people to order ahead of time with a mobile app. That's a very significant work in progress, but it is still yet a work in progress. And so with that being said, Laura, what else would you like me to mention?
Do you want to talk about what meals or food that is served at the Trailhead Cafe?
Sure. So we do quite a bit. I would direct you to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/trailhead. That is a really good tool for people to take a look at. It's got a lot of menus on there. There's a lot of history back there. Gives you an idea as to what we do, what we can do, what we don't do. There's a lot of different pictures for you to look at, a lot of different comments, and most of that stuff is coming from the students. It's not coming from myself or from other administrators. It's coming directly from the student campus, or I'm sorry, the student body. We do everything from sandwiches, salads, parfaits, smoothies, burritos, quesadillas, pasta, soup, etc., etc. There's not a whole heck of a lot we don't do. But again, we're a very small kitchen. We're not as large as some of the other operations out there across the country. It's a very small operation, but we do everything we can to be quick, fresh, and easy for the campus community. If I could touch on the meal plan for just a minute, the meal plan that you see on the website, which I know is still a work in progress on the banner, that's a work in progress. However, once the meal plans or once banner is up and ready, you'll be able to select your meal plan. The meal plan is fairly straightforward, at least for Trailhead dollars. If you select either the 7 or 10 meals with Syracuse University and the $415 at Trailhead, that $415 is there. There's not much change in that respect. There are other meal plans available through Syracuse University. However, we do recommend that you pick at least one of the two, either the $7 and $415 of Trailhead or the 10 meals a week at Syracuse University with $415 at Trailhead. I always tell parents and students the best of both worlds is had for your student at ESF. You have the convenience of ESF's Trailhead Cafe, and you have the what I always refer to as the always there Syracuse University dining facilities with 7 or 10 meals a week at SU. You get the best of both worlds, and there I don't think there's too many other colleges across the area where you have the ability to eat at 2 different colleges in the same space. I think that's pretty awesome for students walking through the door. Trailhead cards are a separate card than your SUNY ESF ID. They are not the same cards. It's a separate card. Those cards are distributed will be distributed through Centennial when you walk in the door. And for students who are not coming to Centennial, we have not yet hammered down the distribution of those Trailhead cards. That's a work in progress as well. We're trying to figure out the best way to get students who are new to campus, who are not living in Centennial Hall, their cards. And that will be communicated to you as it's finalized in the next few weeks.
Great. Thank you so much, James, for saying all that information about Trailhead. I know that it is definitely a popular place to eat at lunchtime at ESF for sure. So we'll leave you for now. We'll come back to you and to definitely Kim Max for sure. I see lots of questions coming in, but again, we will get to those. I want to introduce next Ruth Sullivan. Again, Ruth, can you talk a little bit about what you do at SU, Syracuse University, and just a general overview as well about how meal plans work, in particular, again, your role as a nutritionist?
I will, and I'm sorry you hear my dog barking. He is outside, but he's barking, so sorry about that. So my name is Ruth Sullivan. I'm the Assistant Director of Nutrition Management for the Food Services Department and the Registered Dietitian. My main job, I always say, is working with students who have special diets, regardless of what they are, and also helping to plan a wholesome menu, working with disability services and health services and a lot of other departments on campus. I've been here for about 14 years, so it's been a while. And, you know, our facilities are they're huge, and there's a lot of things that are going to be going on when we open. First one is we're going to be totally to go, and there will be no seating in any of our facilities, at least for the first 2 weeks. We are planning how it's going to look, though, when we do open for seating, you know, following the guidelines and having plexiglass, having hand sanitizer, wipes, social distancing signs. And it will not be an all you can eat. It will be staff handing you food or you taking food that's already packaged. And in our dining centers, we still have the pizza, we'll still have the salads, the grill, the pasta station, the vegan and vegetarian, the gluten-free, and the dessert. So that food will all still be there and available. The menu has been shrunk down a tiny bit, but it's still pretty big. So I think everybody will be able to find what they want. Working with students that have special diets, whether it's food allergies, celiac disease, IBS, that's what I do. And reaching out to me with regards to if you ever need any help. Our cafes are going to be the same way. They're going to be to go, and the plexiglass, social distancing. We're going to have other areas on campus also open for quick grab and goes. And that might be the faculty center and Kimmel. And you'll be able to just walk up, take a food item, and you're out the door. There are places that we're allowing what we're calling meal equivalency. So you can use your meal plan now at Kimmel. You can use it at various cafes. You can use it at the faculty center. So it really opens up a lot of opportunity for students to use their meal plans on campus. And when we do open, the menu plan starts on the 17th of August, and you will be able to see our menu online. And you go online at foodservices.syr.edu, and you look for the menu, and it will show you what foods contain the big 8 allergens that we talk about. We have a gluten-free menu online. It shows what foods are vegan. It also has a nutritional analysis if you're interested. You click on that, you put in the foods you ate, and it gives you a printout of calories, protein, fat, fiber, that type of thing. So I do believe, you know, a lot of students do use that. You can look 7 days in advance and know what we're serving. There are other foods in each dining center that may not be on the online menu, but you can still ask what's in the food and you'll be able to find out with our staff. I'm trying to think, I don't want to miss anything, but reach out to me at any time for any questions. And we're all on the Facebook, on the food services website. A lot of questions are answered. We have one part that talks about the safety, all the safety initiatives that are going into place when we do open. We're temping our employees. We are temping our vendors that come in. You know, they have to sign in or swipe in so we know who's been in our facilities. So I think I got. So I think if there's some questions.
Yeah, I think that I want to, we'll wait on doing some more questions until we just introduce Dean Lombard. Can you just talk a little bit about what you do, what the Dean does at ESF, and any special things you're working on?
Sorry, it helps if you unmute yourself. Thanks so much, Laura. I appreciate being here again. And thanks to everybody for tuning in again. We really appreciate it. We have been busy this summer getting ready for classes to start in the fall. And so I've kind of joked that I don't know if I have other responsibilities behind besides COVID-19 planning right now. But seriously, in my role as the Vice Provost and Dean for Student Affairs, I have the privilege of working with a large team of people who plan a lot of the out of classroom programs and experiences and other activities on campus, things like our academic support services, which includes our tutoring, our career services office, our counseling services office, your area, Laura, student involvement and leadership. We have oversight for the student conduct process. We provide students with student support and a number of other things to really support our students and their experience at ESF and help it to be as positive and as fulfilling as it can be. So I'm here bringing the best wishes of a lot of people who are anxious for classes to begin again. And if we can be helpful to you, as always, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can call our main office or you can email us at studenthelp@esf.edu. So thanks so much. And it looks like maybe we lost Laura. There she is.
Sorry about that. I had slid my camera over just to make sure. I'm looking at all the questions. So I'm going to start by asking some of the questions that are in the Facebook chat here. So to start with Kim, I believe, do we have to change our original move-in date if states recently got added to the restricted states list?
So if your state just got added, you can do a couple of things. You can still come in on your original date, but you would move directly into the space that we are using at a local community college, but you'll do your 2 weeks of quarantine there. If you come in on your original date, you will miss the first couple of days of classes if they are in person. We are prepared to do that. So it's up to you. You can also change your date to do that in the original confirmation email. There's a link for rescheduling. So please reschedule if you want to move in earlier. Please note that, the quarantine, that's a state mandate. We cannot allow people to just take a test and then move straight into the building. The language from the governor from the state of New York states that a test cannot be in place of that 14-day quarantine. So this is not something that we are just willy-nilly trying to, make people, stay somewhere for 2 weeks. This is really because we have to. So please know that, it's not ideal. We're trying, but unfortunately it is what we have to do. And there are guidelines behind that. So because there are guidelines that we have to follow, and students and anybody entering the state need to follow, we can't have you quarantine in Centennial Hall either, because if you're sharing a room, that's against the guidelines that were set forth by the state. So we are trying to make sure that we're keeping everybody happy, but also following the guidelines that are given to us by the state of New York.
Thanks so much, Kim. I do see a others related to, I know that there will be some out-of-state sessions. So if you want to put that in the Facebook, I know that they're on 2 Sundays, the next 2 Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll put that.
So if you're coming in from one of those states that has to quarantine for 2 weeks, we're going to be doing some special sessions for you. We know that there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of just things that you need to know that are different than, you know, our students that are coming from New York State. So know that we are planning for that. There will be one on August 2nd, and then I think it's the 12th. If that, whatever, it's 2 Sundays in a row. And it'll be at 7 p.m. and we'll send you information in an email later on this week so that you can join those and ask us some questions.
Great, thank you, thank you. Okay, this might be to Dean Lombard, so, but I know this is academic related as well. So, well, it's Centennial as well. So since most of the classes are now online, can students opt out of living on campus even if they signed the original lease for Centennial Hall?
That's a great question, Laura. And what I can say is, yes, that's going to be an option for people. That's the short answer. The longer answer is that we have an email that we are hoping goes out by tomorrow that will go out to all students, not just Centennial Hall residents, but all students, letting them know, because we've gotten that question over and over and over. Can I just do everything online? It's a long email that's going to come from our provost, Dr. David Newman, and talk about what your options are. But one of the options for students who have signed a lease to live in Centennial Hall is to be released from that lease if they are going to go completely online for the fall semester, and if they're going to be staying at home at their permanent address. So it's important to know, and this will be outlined in the email from Dr. Newman, not every class at ESF is able to be taught online. So it's possible that you may have to look at taking some different classes than you might have been planning to take for this fall, but there are instructions there about talking to your advisor or your department chair. But the short answer is yes, we will work with you because we know lots of people have this concern and we want to make sure that you're comfortable. So look for that email tomorrow. And if you've got questions after you read it, reach out and we'll be happy to help you.
All right, thank you. So this is a roommate question, and I know this has come up before, but what if I finish quarantining and my roommate moves into the dorm after I'm done? Do I have to quarantine for 2 more days with my roommate?
Kim, you want me to take that one?
Doesn't matter.
I'm looking right at you. So we are still exploring our testing options. We're looking at 2 or 3 different kinds of tests, at least one of which hasn't been approved by the FDA yet. So we're working on that. The shortest answer I can give you is that will be a possibility that you will need to quarantine again when your roommate arrives, if that person comes after you do. But we're hoping to be able to test in a way that will minimize the amount of time that you might need to do that. But unfortunately, in order to make sure that everyone's as safe as they can be, that is probably what is going to happen, yes.
Okay. Is there anything else anyone wants to add for that, or more to come, I guess? I do see just a quick question that I wanted to clarify. When you move in, you'll go right to Centennial Hall, not to the Gateway Center. Do you have anything further about move-in? Like, I see a question about, will there be assisted move-in? Is there anything else specifically you wanted to share with the families in the in this discussion right now, Kim?
So unfortunately, we are not doing assisted move-in this year. Because of social distancing and the amount of days that we're doing move-in, we are unable to offer that service. We will have carts available. We will do our best and try to stay on top of all the sanitation and disinfecting them. So please bring your patients. We do have a limited number of, bins and carts for folks to use. And we're going to ask people to be really respectful and return them as quickly as possible so that other people can use them. Move-in this year is going to look a little bit different, but we're going to try to make it, a smooth and easy process so that everybody can get in safely.
All right, thank you. And I know it's a lot of work to coordinate and figuring out all of that and to keep, again, everyone's safety and health is such a priority. I know it's a lot to coordinate. So thank you, Centennial. And to the staff of Centennial, I see Savan Proctor, who is our resident. Why don't you tell us your title and a little bit about your staff, Kim, because I'm not great with remembering exact titles.
That's okay. So Savan Proctor is our assistant community manager, and she's answering a lot of the questions in our chat. We also have our resident services and marketing manager who handles kind of a lot of the behind the scenes things. So operational paperwork things. She also does all of our Instagram posts. So if you're following us on Instagram, Centennial Hall ESF, she's the one that does all of those. We also have a crew of desk assistants who are there to answer questions. They handle packages and kind of mail and everything else there. We also have 10 resident assistants who live on the floors and are a great resource. They can help from, anything from, figuring out all the computer systems at ESF to kind of navigating any roommate problems that may be happening to just about anything else. We also have a fantastic crew of maintenance and housekeeping staff. They are currently working really hard to get the building ready for everybody to move in. And they are fixing things, they are cleaning things, they're doing everything that they can to, one, make sure that the building is clean and safe for everybody to move into, but also making any repairs. So during the year, if if anything breaks, heat is not working, there's water all over the floor because the toilet overflowed, our maintenance staff, they respond to emergencies 24/7 every day of the week. A burnt out light bulb is not an emergency. They will come for water and, kind of those big things that may happen. No heat in the middle of winter. There are some things that can wait till the next day, but they get to things as soon as possible. And they are probably, one of the most important staff and crew within Centennial Hall.
Thank you. Thank you for going over that and all the structure of Centennial Hall. I know y'all, how many exactly live in Centennial Hall again? It's a lot.
Yep. So our maximum capacity is about 554. This year, we'll probably right now be about 500, 510. There's a lot of moving pieces right now. But there's a lot of people that live in Centennial Hall. So we're just trying to do our best.
Thank you. Thank you again, everyone. I also see Sarah Hauk, who is the coordinator for student involvement and leadership, answering questions as well. So thank you. I'm sure that there are other staff in our chat. So as you all know, it does take a village, and we have a great set of staff and faculty at ESF. So just want to make sure we do give them a huge kudos. I do see some questions about OCC and getting meals there. So can we get some more clarity on just exactly what OCC will look like? How do people move in? And then again, how are people eating?
Sure, I can answer that for you, Laura. People are going to be asked to move, for those students who need to go to OCC first, are going to move there directly and move into that space for the 2 weeks of their quarantine. The rooms are pretty typical residence hall rooms. They are, beds, desks, closets, but you'll need to supply your own linen and your own personal items and so on. It's a nice, relatively new residence hall. I mean, of course, it's not as nice as Centennial, but few residence halls are. And You'll check in at the desk, probably with their staff. You'll have a staff contact person at ESF who will touch base with you, at least every day. And we'll be doing some activities with you kind of virtually to help you get to know each other and to feel connected. There is high-speed internet there. And as it relates to meals, they'll be supplying all of the meals. They can accommodate dietary restrictions and food allergies and things like that. We'll get more information from you as we get closer to that. But I don't know yet if they're going to deliver each meal separately or if they're going to deliver once a day. Those kinds of details, we're still working on those. But our partners there have been very helpful to us in making this space available. Their students will also be quarantining and isolating in that space, but in different locations within the building. So if there are other questions, I'm happy to answer those too, Laura.
I do think that, thank you so much, Dean Lombard. I do see that there are some questions in particular about food and making sure students can eat in either OCC or SU in the 2 days of quarantining. So if you can just reassure our families, our students, anyone with dietary needs, that we absolutely will make sure that students will have meals and dietary needs will be met. And maybe Anne, James, Ruth, you can all kind of confirm that. I know maybe James, you're kind of in a different place, but Ruth, I know that you have familiarity with this process at SU. So can you just touch on that a little bit? And then maybe Dean Lombard, you can as well.
Sure.
Sure. With regards to anybody who has any special needs with food, that's my main job. So that's what I do, regardless of what it is. And you can reach out to me. You can start now. You can send me an email and reach out to me and let me know what your special diet is. So when you do start to eat on campus, we'll be ready for you. My email address, I'll give it to you quickly. It's resulliv@syr.edu. You can email me questions with regards to the menu, anything that has to do with food services, special diets. Like I said, that's my main job. We have a great team. All of our staff are trained in food allergies, celiac disease, how to avoid cross contact. So they've got a lot of training and they've been around for quite a while, helping a lot of students. So, no diet is, any kind of diet that you choose to eat, we will help you with it.
Yeah, and to add to that, Laura, that's one of the first things that we talked to our colleagues at OCC about as we were exploring this possibility, because we know a lot of our students do have special dietary needs and restrictions, and they are going to be using a local caterer who we actually use often on our campus, who do a nice job. And we'll be able to accommodate all of that, and we'll make sure that people get fed, because we know that next to having a roof over your head, having some good food is going to be the most important thing. So I can definitely assure people that we will take care of that part.
Great, thank you. I do see some more questions about OCC and quarantining. So just for, again, verbal record too, for the 2-week quarantine period, is there anything you would want to make sure people know? I know that the cost, again, for the record, it is covered by Centennial Hall for Centennial Hall residents. Can you touch on more information about what to bring and just anything, if there'll be move-in help, just a little bit more background on OCC. Shapiro Hall is the name of it as well, and we just did address. So anything more you could touch on, because I do see some questions.
Sure. Well, the first thing I want to say is that we are setting up a couple of Zoom meetings on the next 2 Sundays to invite students who are coming from the quarantine restricted states to get onto those Zoom calls and get your specific questions answered, because I know we've got limited time here. So that's the first thing. You'll receive an email from us specifically about this. So number one. Number two, OCC is a campus that's familiar to us. Some people may not know this on the call, but that's actually where we host our commencement ceremonies in May. It's about a 10 to 15 minute drive from campus, depending on traffic. Real easy drive, and it's a nice, you know, relatively new campus. The building is, I mean, newer, helpful staff. You know, they're part of the SUNY system, one of the community colleges within the SUNY system. And so we found them easy to work with. But like, as I said, we're going to invite students coming from those states that are affected to join a specific Zoom call this Sunday or next Sunday to answer even more of your questions so that we can get to some other questions here.
Perfect. Thank you for that reminder. And we'll put
You're welcome.
one more time in the chat, because I know that we just decided those dates today. So just so folks know again about online classes and whatnot, can you repeat what was going on with online classes and kind of how students will handle if they want to stay home and refunds and all of that?
Yes. So tomorrow you should check your syr.edu email, because they're probably later in the day, there will be a message coming from Provost Newman, who's our Chief Academic Officer, outlining what students' options are going to be. And one of the options is, if students can build a schedule that will work for them, they can choose to go completely online for the fall semester. As I said earlier, not all of our classes at ESF are planned to be taught in an online capacity or even really lend themselves to that, because, you know, one of the hallmarks of an ESF experience is the experiential hands-on learning. So it's obviously hard to do that in a virtual way. But most of our first year students will typically take general chemistry, general biology, a writing class, and a math class. And then they typically round out their schedule with a chemistry lab and a biology lab. So all of those courses are slated to be taught, to have the option online. The labs are not going to be able to be taught online. And so what you're going to need to do when you get this message, you're going to be directed on how to check your schedules and to see if it makes sense for our students to build a schedule for themselves this fall that allows them to stay at home and work remotely. So, and again, that's not just going to be our first year students living in Centennial, that's any of our students. But again, not every class is taught every semester, and not every class is able to be taught virtually. So it's going to depend on you and what your classes are, and how you might put together a schedule, you know, for the fall that would allow you to do that and still make good academic progress, because there are financial aid consequences for doing this. And so all of that and how to check on this is going to be in this email that you should look for from Dr. Newman. But for our residential students in particular, they will be given the option, if they would like to be released from their Centennial Hall obligation. First year students will be released from their obligation for fall semester only, until we know more about what spring semester looks like. It's a release for the fall semester. And the expectation is that you are living at your permanent address while you're taking your classes completely online in the fall. And we have lots of students who do still plan to come to campus and, you know, to participate in their classes here and to go through this experience with their classmates here. So either way, what's going to be best for you is what we want to help you to figure out and help you to facilitate.
Thank you so much. I know that was a lot of information to digest and share. So we want to encourage you to check your email.
Absolutely.
We'll send it to the SYR email and also potentially a different email address, or do you have that information?
My understanding is that it's going to be sent to the syr.edu email address. And so this is one of my many plugs to say to you, make sure that you're checking this email address every day. And if you are forwarding it to a personal address, make sure that all your filters are such that you're going to make sure that you get them This is the official means of communication that the college uses to communicate about this and anything else. So you want to start now getting in the habit of checking that email on a very regular basis, because really important information gets sent to that email.
And I believe we have on the main ESF page, there is a big header called COVID update. So
Yep.
there's always the same communication on that website as well. So I'm sure our communications office will really broadcast this email. So please do, again, read that thoroughly, because I know they've been working really hard at getting all those finer details worked out in that email. I see a couple more questions about Centennial Hall. I do also want to get back to meal plans and do recap that a little bit, but I do see a couple questions about when, you know, parents involved in the actual building, number one, and number two, a little bit about, can the student roam around, or when they're moved in, can families take them around the community, vacation a little bit, or travel a little bit?
So once a student is at Centennial Hall and they have finished the move-in process, we are asking that they quarantine until we receive the results of their test. You know, unfortunately, this is not ideal. It's not really what we want, but we're doing this to keep everybody safe. So kind of going out and about is contrary to that. So we really do ask that students stay in Centennial Hall and stay in their rooms. We are working on, you know, our plans and finalizing our plans for food for those students. No, we're not going to let people go hungry. I promise you that. So we really are working on that. Once the school year starts, there will be no visitors within Centennial Hall. You know, maybe the vestibule if we're lucky. But we won't be letting anybody into the building. That is for the health and safety of all of our students that live in, as well as the staff that live and work there. I also saw a quick question about occupancy levels. We are evaluating and really making sure that we are reducing the occupancy in our common areas. But we are asking students to really just be aware of themselves. You know, we all have a responsibility for this. This is a community. Centennial Hall is a very vibrant community, and we all care for each other. So I would hope that everybody would have the self-awareness that if there's already 10 people in a lounge, maybe it's not the best thing to sit down right next to the person that's sitting on the couch. So we are going to post things, and we're going to make sure that we're reminding people, but we're hoping that as a community that we can have care and concern for each other, and that we can make some good decisions doing that.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you, Laura.
Thank you. Bad timing here. All right. Thank you so much. I want to turn it over. I know that there are plenty more housing questions, but I do want to make sure we talk a little bit more about meal plans again. I know, again, we've said this a few times, but in case you just tuned in, we will make sure that you as a student, you as a family member for your student will have food, and we will meet dietary accommodations, and we will work on that and formalize that process. I'll start with Ruth now. I don't have my card handy, but your student ID card that is green but printed by Syracuse University. So a plug for you to upload your photo. You actually have to do it 2 times. One for ESF records and 1 time for SU through the ID card upload system. With that, you're going to get an ESF ID card, again, printed through SU, and that is your ID card. That is your college ID card. I'll have James talk about the Trailhead card, but that college ID card has both your meals a week. So if you do a 7, 10, 14, 19, or deluxe, it's all on there, and they run Thursday to Wednesday. I should have Ruth go over this. Ruth, can you go over how meal plans and ID cards all work together?
So yeah, I think so your meal plan's on your card, and it does run from Thursday morning to Wednesday night, and your meals do not carry over. But if you have super card food money, that will carry over to the next semester. but it won't stay forever. So it ends around, if you take summer classes, around June 30th. So SuperCard will carry over, but your meals will not from week to week. So if you're on a 14 and you don't use the 14 meals, then they don't carry over. Ours do come with some SuperCard, and I know James has talked about the ESF and what comes with the Trailhead. But our SU food services, we don't have Trailhead dollars on that. That's on your ESF card. And then our dining center hours are, we really never close. We try to be open. It will be the same as last year. We'll be posting them really soon on our website. Our cafes, they do plan to open up on the 17th of August. Some are open now. Life Sciences is open. West Campus Express is open, which is very close to ESF. And Starbucks is open now. And I'm trying to think what else. I talked about the equivalencies, using your meal plan at certain places like Kimmel Faculty Center, which is very different than it has been in the past years. You'll be able to use it at some of the cafes as a meal plan swipe. So if you're on, you have an SU 14 meal plan, you can use it at Kimmel. You can use it at the Faculty Center. You can use it at the Dining Center. So we're really opening that up. The meal plan is also going to work in what we're calling our outposts, and those are going to be in various places on the university campus where you just go and grab and go. And we're also looking at possibly having something on the quad where we're just selling food. We're just selling food, meal plan, SuperCard, so they just come up and they grab something and they go. We're trying, because we have to social distance and we have to be so careful, we don't want to overwhelm our dining centers. So we're opening up so many other places that students are going to be able to use.
Great. And I did see a question, Ruth, about lowering or increasing your meal plan. So can you just touch on exactly when you can lower or increase? I know it's a little bit different for lowering it after the first weeks.
So you can increase your meal plan anytime. What you can't do is lower it anytime. There are certain, like a freshman, for a first year student at ESF has to be on no lower than a 7. And then you can go 7, 10, 14, 19, or the deluxe. If you picked a 14 meal plan and you want to lower it, and you can go lower, it's only the first 2 weeks of class. So that first 2 weeks, you can lower if you're allowed to. After that, you can't lower. If for some reason the 2 weeks are up and you're concerned about a special diet, or you're not eating enough, you're not getting enough food in our facilities, please call me and we will fix it. And we'll make sure you're eating and you're getting the foods that you want. The one thing, we treat every student as, you know, we're one-on-one. We don't treat them as a whole big group of students. We meet one-on-one with students all the time in the dining centers, in the cafes, taking suggestions. We love suggestions because it's easier for us to figure out what students want to eat if they tell us. So we're always taking suggestions and comment cards. So we definitely want to hear from you, especially if you're having trouble with your meal plan.
Thank you so much. That's really good points to make. And I'll keep sharing information about housing and meal plans, or I'm sorry, meal plans in particular, because we do have the relationship with 2 different places, again, SU and Morrisville, which is what James runs in the Gateway Center. So I'm going to turn it over a little bit to James just to touch on again how your dining plan works at the Trailhead Cafe, which again is located in the Gateway Center. Can you touch on that a little bit for those tuning in a little bit later, James?
Yeah, thanks, Laura. So the Trailhead Cafe meal plan is a declining balance, which means for every dollar you spend, that dollar comes off the card. The cards are preloaded with $415. That's $415 per semester. The student has the option to increase that money at any time. They can do it from their phone. Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa could do it from home if they choose to. That $415, like I said, you know, to reiterate, it's for every dollar you spend, it comes off that card. So depending on your eating habits, depending on how often you're on campus or how often you're not on campus, that money can go really quick or it can last you the entire semester. I always stress to students and families that if they are going to purchase either the 7 or 10 meal plan with Syracuse University, that they use all 7 and all 10 of those meals every week. There's nothing worse than throwing a meal out because you didn't use them all by Wednesday night. It's really the biggest waste that you're going to see is the waste of meals, especially in this coming semester. It's a short semester. We're 2 weeks shorter than we have been in the past. So being able to use all 7 or 10 or whichever meal plan you use, it's really important that students make the most of that. The $415, if you have anything left at the end of the semester, when you leave campus towards Thanksgiving, that money comes back. So whether it's $10 or $100, that money's back included with an additional $415 in the spring semester, which is nice. Ideally, you have to use all of that by the end of the spring semester in May. You don't get that money back. So if you have $1,000 sitting on your card in May, we don't cut you a check for $1,000. The $415, to touch on it again, I always tell people that our average check at the Trailhead Cafe is about $7. So depending on your eating habits, $415 can go quick or it can last you the entire semester. Again, I think it's really important that students get into both SU's dining facilities and the Trailhead Cafe at least one time each every day, so they can spread that money out through the whole semester. It's there's just nothing worse than throwing away a meal plan.
Absolutely. And I know that a lot of students will, look at their declining balance for both their SuperCard money, which is automatically part of the meal plan. So on the chat, I did post the meal plan overview. Again, as Ruth mentioned, every dining plan at SU comes with SuperCard money, which runs just the way Trailhead does, but you can use it at the Starbucks, at the convenience store, at the cafes, all at SU, or again, you can do, spend the money at the Trailhead Cafe with that Trailhead plan. So, but again, there are options, there are ways to get some extra chips and get some grab and go stuff at both locations, at SU and at Trailhead. So just keep an eye on it. Take out a faculty member or a fellow upperclassmen who may not have a meal plan. That's always a nice gesture. I know a lot of students meet with faculty and staff in the Gateway Center, and that dining area will be open. James, can you touch a little bit about seating in particular, and even Ruth too? So we'll start with James this time on seating in the Trailhead.
Sure. So seating in Gateway, for any upperclassmen that's on this right now, and for incoming students and families, the Gateway building was our primary lunch space, not only lunch, but our primary eating space on campus. Right now, seating has been cut in half. So we removed half of the seats, and we're using conference rooms that there's 3 different conference rooms in the Gateway building. 2 of those are going to be used for classes, and 1 of those are going to be used for overflow seating, if you will. We've moved all the tables, we moved all the chairs, so there's enough space between them to include the conference room as well. It's not going to look for any upperclassmen that's on this, it's not going to look like the Gateway of past, but it's certainly going to remind you of Gateway of the past. We are going to socially distance the line for anybody, again, any upperclassmen or that's on here. The line to the Trailhead Cafe sometimes can be very, very long. We will be socially distancing that line, but we're hopeful that with some of the changes that we've made, not only inside, but also to our operation, that we can make that line move just a little bit quicker for everybody, knowing all of the changes that are coming at you here.
Okay, and Ruth, can you just touch again on dining, and then we'll turn it back over to Kim for some last minute questions that came up. So Ruth, how are dining halls looking at seating? I know you mentioned it's to go, but is there anything special with seating again for those tuning in late? I know you mentioned the quad might have some stuff, so just quick on that.
For when we do open up our facilities for seating, which we're hoping 2 weeks after we open, we've already removed 50% of the seating, tables, chairs, out of the cafes, out of the dining centers. So it's going to be down to the 50% capacity. And it's going to be, when you walk into the dining center, you're going to see where to stand, the plexiglass, going to be signs everywhere to tell you how to social distance. So it will be to 50% in each facility. That's why we've developed the outposts, and that's why we want other facilities to be able to take meal plans, so the lines don't get really long, and we want to make sure that students eat when they want to eat. So, you know, there is going to be limited seating, but we're going to hopefully take care of the overflow by opening up all the other cafes and student centers that we can allow meal plans at.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you again to the folks who are talking about meals for us. Again, I know that if you're tuning in late, we've had over 200 comments on our Facebook, so I'm sorry if we didn't get to your exact question. Please, again, I'll put the contact info or ask the panelists to put their own information in. But again, thank you to you all. Your student will always be able to eat. You don't have to. This is a common question we get. Your SU and ESF billing is different, and it's going to be a little bit more delayed. Your student will be able to eat even if you know for sure I did not pay my SU bill. We get that question even in a good year without COVID and a pandemic. So again, your student will be able to eat. Obviously, you do have to pay that bill when you do get that bill, but they will be allowed to eat. So please know that. Kim, can I just turn it over to you to answer? You may have seen some of the questions coming in, but there's a question about just roommates, and if a student opts out, will there be singles? You may have seen some of the kind of themed questions. I know we only have about a minute or two left. So I'm sorry again.
So for those of you that may have roommates that opt out, we will probably, because you have signed up for a double room, which means 2 people in a room, we will consolidate people so that perhaps, you know, for those people who may have a different move-in time, we can work some of those things out so that perhaps you don't have to quarantine twice. So there's a bunch of moving pieces here. So if you would like to upgrade your room to a single and ensure that you are the only one in that room, we can offer you that, but know that there is a price difference for that. So if that is an option, you know, we will get in contact with you and ask you the question. But otherwise, we will assign you a new roommate and get you all that contact information as well. Was there anything I missed, Laura?
I think that, let's see, just scrolling through. I'm sorry if I missed it. Again, it's not personal. There's just quite a few comments in here that are all great questions. So we know that you may have been tuning in for the very first time, or things again do change very quickly. States get added to the list. So thank you again so much for your patience. I know sending your child is a big decision, and during a pandemic, it's a lot. So we're really trying to do our very best to make sure everything's safe. Thank you again to Savan and Proctor and Sarah Hauk for being in here, and to a lot of the other people. I did see a question early on about libraries, and I do want to make sure people know that libraries will be open at 50% occupancy, and their hours might change, but we'll push information out. We do emails quite a bit for our students, and we also have been doing other town halls virtually, of course. And so whenever there's a question, if we think we need to advertise it even harder, we absolutely will. We're working on an FAQ document. Again, if you have any last minute questions, please again, email us at any time. Thank you for being in here again, all of our panelists. I don't see anything super different. Again, we will absolutely do some OCC sessions specifically for the hotspot states. I should say hotspot states about OCC and getting all your questions answered. Those are this coming Sunday, August 2nd, and then the following, I can't believe it's already August. Wow. Okay, this coming Sunday 2nd and the following Sunday, August 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will record them through Zoom so we can push those out. Again, we're only gearing that towards people who are in those hotspot states, because I know that there are some more questions, of course, there about laundry and refrigerator and bathrooms, and there's plenty in there that we can spend an hour alone on. So we're doing our own separate one for those folks. So thank you again. I can't find anything pressing to touch on. I might be missing it. Again, thank you. Thank you. If you have any, I'll go just 2 minutes longer. I think it will let me. I'll run down the list. Kim, can you give just a minute of recap of strongest 2 points you want to share in our group?
Yep. I just want to say thank you to everybody. We are working really hard to make sure that this is both a safe but also a good experience. So we appreciate everybody's patience. 2 things that I would say is please have some patience and some grace. We are all just trying to figure this out, and everything keeps changing. So please know that as soon as we have information, we will share information. As I've said, everything keeps changing. But also kind of number 2 is we're here to help. So please, students, please make sure to contact us. We're not scary. We really want to help you. And we want to make sure that you have the answers to your questions. But we also want to give you the tools to be able to find the answers to your own questions. So if, a Centennial Hall staff member says, hey, it was in the email from the 10th, we want to make sure that you know where to find all those answers as well, because that's just a good skill to have in general.
Thank you so much. And thank you for all your efforts and for just being so open to all the different ways to communicate as well. Ruth, if we can go to you next. You just happen to be my next person on my screen.
Yeah, thank you everybody for, listening. And I'm going to echo what Kim said, and we're here to help. And any issue you have, it's easier for me to find out when you get to campus rather than in November. So please, please reach out to me. I don't care what it is. I had put my email address on the Facebook chat. Also, go on the food service website where I'm there. I can deal with any diet, whatever it is, even if you're just bored with the food, you have suggestions, anything to do with food services, please reach out to me.
Thank you. James and Ruth, I know that you also have students who work in the dining center, as well as Kim, actually. I totally forgot about that too. So if you have questions even about just employment and just, non-pandemic questions, they're wonderful people who are all willing to be here, and great colleagues that I've known for many years now, almost a decade. So James, you want to talk a little bit about 2 important final tips?
Laura, I'll just say one thing. I would probably say that everybody's in the same boat here. I'm just excited to get back on campus. I'm excited to see students. I'm excited to see faculty and staff. I know it's weird. I know people are going to be scared and hesitant, but at the same point, at the same time, it's college. Let's have some fun. Let's learn some things. Let's have some experiences. It's we're going to make some memories in the next couple of years with everybody. And to me, this is just a jumping off point of those memories. To me, I'm excited. I can't wait to get back into the kitchen and make some food, because I don't know, I feel like I have had way too many bologna sandwiches here. I need something different, but for me, I'm excited. I can't wait to see people, and I can't wait to cook some food for everybody.
We cannot wait to have Trailhead Cafe back open. We've missed you being there and having food on campus, because it's not always open in the summer. So, it's not open in the summer. So we miss you. So thank you for coming back and getting that kitchen going and all of that.
Well, thanks, and we miss you too, and we can't wait. So
awesome. And Dean Lombard, do you want to wrap up too? Any last minute tips?
Sure. Just thanks again for tuning in. Thanks again for reaching out to us and for your patience with us. We really are doing the best that we can and working hard to give you as much peace of mind as we can, while recognizing that we can't always have the answers. But I've appreciated the parents and families and students I've talked with one-on-one and via email. However we can help, don't hesitate to reach out to us, because your students' safety and well-being is our primary concern, and we're willing to do whatever we reasonably can to help ensure that. So hang in there. We're going to have a good year in spite of all of the challenges, and let us know if we can be helpful.
All right, thank you, everyone. And we will see you probably next week. We have another session. If not, please check your emails and read the newsletters that come up bi-weekly. We have one coming out tomorrow, and read the email coming out tomorrow from Provost Newman as well. And we will be in touch for more of these. So thank you for spending an hour with us tonight. Thank you to our panelists again.
And thank you, Laura.
You are so welcome, everyone.
Thank you.